Now your host, Dave Glover.
Welcome back to the studio. If the crowd seems slightly more exuberant than they were in the first hour, that's because we have the wonderful Krista Ferguson in the studio with us right now. Krista, welcome.
Thank you, Dave.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Welcome to Northumberland 89.7. Now, she may offer to play us a number as we go through this interview, folks, but it'll depend on whether or not she's happy or whether or not I upset her. Who knows? She is back, though. Folks, she's playing at Maddie's Pub. That's coming up on Friday, March 11th. That's from 7 to 11. That's at 7 Division Street in Bowmanville. You want to call there at 905-697-4022. Maddie's Pub and Restaurant in downtown Bowmanville. It's pretty much downtown, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, right now, ladies and gentlemen, for your listening pleasure, here is the wonderful Krista Ferguson.
Thanks, Dave. So this is Old Man Neil Young. My life, I'm a lot like you were. Oh man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. Oh man, look at my life, 24 and there's so much more. Live alone in paradise that makes you think of two. Love lost such a cost. Give me things that won't get lost, like a coin that won't get tossed, rolling home to you. Oh man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you. I need someone to love me the whole day through. And one look at your eyes and you can tell it's true. Oh man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. Oh man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. Look at my eye, run around in the same old ground. Doesn't mean that much to me, doesn't mean that much to you. Well, I've been the first and last. I look at all the time gone past, but I'm all alone at last, rolling home to you. Take a look at my life, I'm a lot like you. I need someone to love me the whole day through. And one look at your eyes and you can tell it's true. Oh man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. Oh man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were.
All right, that was Krista Ferguson, everybody, right here on truly local radio, Northumberland 89.7. Just some of the wonderful talent just circulating around West Northumberland, this part of the province. What made you want to start doing live?
Well, I had my business for the last 8 years. My students are getting older now, and so I'm getting extra time in my schedule now to start really working on it. Mm-hmm. So I just started picking up the guitar and really going for it and starting to write my songs and getting out there and trying to get gigs. And so now I'm just beginning, but it's my new journey.
Do you play with a band at all,
No.
or do you have other guys,
No.
folks rather that join? I shouldn't say guys.
All me. I play other instruments, so I do piano, I do guitar, I sing, I do drums, I do bass. So, when it comes to actually recording CDs, I'll usually do the instruments myself. Obviously, if I was playing on a bigger stage, I would need some band behind me. But for right now, what I'm doing, it's pretty good. It's it pays the bills, and it's doing what I want to do. This is my passion. So I got to start somewhere, and that's where I am.
Well, Paul McCartney did that on most of his albums, right? I mean, he used to play lots and lots of, played all the instruments. I think on a couple of the tracks off their White Album, he played everything.
Yeah.
So you can do that.
Exactly.
And I have seen some other live performers of late lay down some tracks recorded, and then they just play. It's a solo gig, but it's still them with all the background. So, and with today's technology, you can do that.
That's it.
You really can do the full orchestration yourself.
If you got it, you might as well do it, right? But that's it. That's where I'm at right now. And like I said, my students getting older. They're heading off to university, and so like I said, I'm getting that extra time now, and I want to concentrate on it and see where I can go with it.
Is it something you've always wanted to do?
Always wanted to do, and I just never had a chance to really focus on it, commit to it, put that time into it, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of practice, but I'm getting that chance now. So here we go.
What are your biggest musical influences?
Since I was younger, I used to listen to a lot of females. So, Jan Arden, Melissa Etheridge, Sheryl Crow, Shania Twain. And so I'm very inspired by the singer-songwriter, performer, playing guitar, singing type of artists. I have Neil Young, obviously. There's so many. There's so many. I love folk music. I love all styles of music. Pop, jazz, country, you name it. So I do have a lot of variety when it comes to writing my own songs because of the influences that I've had.
Right. Well, we are going to play another one of your tracks. This is a song off your CD that's called What Do You Want From Me by Krista Ferguson. And so I hope you guys enjoy this, and I hope I'm able to play it properly, frankly. I think I've sorted out my technical difficulties. Anyway, here is Krista Ferguson. The song is What Do You Want From Me, right here on Truly Local Radio, Northumberland 89.7. You're listening to The Drive Time, folks.
I don't know what you want from me. Giving all I got, that's the best I can do for you. What did you do that was so great? You never were the one to be blamed. Well, I'm sorry, it was all me. You think you hide it well. Well, I saw through every goddamn lie. But what the hell did you think? I was stupid. But you can't remember. It was like you were brainwashed, and I don't know who you are anymore. Who you are anymore. What do you want from me? Well, I think I handled it perfectly. You're so goddamn lucky. Well, I've seen it all from you. Don't deny it, don't deny it, don't deny it. You lock me out. I know it was hard, but don't blame me. I know what the problem was, but you'll never admit it. It was like you were brainwashed, and I don't know who you are anymore. Who you are anymore. What do you want from me? Didn't I make you happy? Well, I don't think I could have done it any better. Oh,
Krista Ferguson, everybody. The song "What Do You Want From Me" right here on Truly Local Radio, Northumberland 89.7. She is my guest in the studio. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll have more. We'll find out a little more about Krista Ferguson, where she comes from. She's from Ontario. She's from the Pickering area originally, but I don't want to give too much away. We're going to take our first break of the show, and when we come back, more Krista Ferguson. Find out what is so wonderful about Krista Ferguson right here on Truly Local Radio, Northumberland 89.7. All right, welcome back to the show. Joining me in the studio is Krista Ferguson. You have already heard 2 tracks. We'll see if we can't squeeze another one out of her before the end of the show here, folks. Now, you are from Port Hope, or no, Pickering. You live in Port Hope now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you grew up here in Ontario?
Yeah.
Now, what was that like? You haven't been anywhere across Canada yet or anything like that?
I'm a local girl. I mean, from Pickering to Port Hope, basically. It's where I've lived, and I love it. I mean, Ontario's great. You know, Pickering was great growing up, and I love Port Hope. It's such a great community. Same thing with Cobourg as well. Mm-hmm. So I can't complain. Everybody's so nice here.
No, that's true. That's very true. This is the wonderful embrace of West Northumberland, as I like to tell people. Sort of the best kept secret in the province, I think. Although some people have tried to tell me there's similar experiences elsewhere in the province, I always say no.
No.
So you grew up in Pickering. Now, what was that like?
Awesome. Yeah, I actually, since I was 5, I started playing music, and my dad bought me a little keyboard, 20 keys, and I went from there. I started teaching myself. I could hear songs off the radio and start playing them on the piano, and then by the time I was 13, I started playing my dad's guitar, and I was hooked. I haven't put it down since, but I was in all of the bands at school. I went to a band camp for 6 years, and I got to work with university professors and musicians around the world, and that's how I learned to study trumpet. And so once I started learning trumpet, I was able to kind of put it towards all the other instruments that I started learning. So piano, guitar, and drums, and bass, and that's it. Just the ball started rolling, and I couldn't stop.
Wow. And you also like to do outdoor stuff, I understand, too.
I do.
That's what I understand.
Yeah, if I'm not playing music, I love being outdoors. I love fishing. I love working on cars with my dad. We got actually 3 that we're restoring right now. So we're in the garage a lot in the summertime if I'm not doing gigs, if I'm not performing. But like I said, this is the year that I'm really going to start getting out there and making the gigs happen. So hopefully I'll be really busy.
So fishing, sports, working on cars.
Sports, yeah.
You're obviously not single, right? Single, because girls like you just go real quick.
No, I'm not single.
Do you do sports as well? Or,
I did,
mean,
yeah.
Do you watch? What do you watch?
Oh yes,
Hockey and
of
stuff
course,
like that?
hockey, and I got baseball. I love the Blue Jays, and I know everybody's all on the Leafs, but I love my Leafs. I can't stop.
Leaf fans are like that.
Yeah, but I played soccer for 15 years. I did rep baseball. I was a pitcher. I did power cheerleading in high school. I was the captain, and from there I started doing more music. And right out of high school, I actually got offered a job to teach music for $20 an hour, and I said, "Take it. I'm done. I'll go for it."
Right out of high school.
And so right out of high school.
Wow.
And for 2 years, I worked and I prepped myself for my business, and then I opened up my business, and I've been running that for 8 years. I opened up a facility actually in Ajax, and from there it grew, and now I'm doing Pickering to Port Hope, and I go to people's houses and I teach all different ages and all instruments and all styles, because everybody's different, right? Some people like classical, some people like rock, so at least I'm versatile. I can go back and forth between that and different instruments.
Well, that's something we were talking about during the break. I mean, you know a lot of wonderful female artists who, frankly, I don't know any of their music.
No?
Because I stopped listening to the radio, and I tell people it's on the air all the time. I really did stop listening to the radio in the late 70s because it was too angst-driven, I think the music was. And for me, I was an anxious person anyway as a kid, so I didn't need the additional input from music. So I listened to the singer-songwriters of the 70s and stuff like that. But from what you're telling me, it's a very similar sort of background.
Pretty much.
Was your dad a big influence musically for you?
Oh, yes. And he always had, those big packs of CDs, and I just, as a kid, I'd go through them and I'd learn all of different artists and musicians and songs, and I just fell in love with it. It's something that I must have been born with. I can't tell any different. It's just in me, and I've always wanted to excel in it. So that was something that, like I said, after high school, that was the career choice. So here I am today, and now, like I said, my students are getting older, and they're actually encouraging me to go out and do this. And so I'm like, okay, well, I can't not do it. You want me to do this, and so I'm going to push for it. And I wouldn't be a good role model if I didn't do it. So
well, and you're really sort of just dipping your toe in the water at this point, right?
That's it. Yeah, like I said, I'm just beginning. I just started this CD here. Just starting gigs. I think I've had 8 gigs so far. So by the time the summer comes, I'm hoping I'll get into the festivals, the Rib Fest, and
is this CD available where you play?
Yeah. I actually give those ones out, and I also have that on my website at KristaFerguson.ca. So if you want, you can take a listen to those other songs that I have on there, and then my song "What Do You Want From Me" is on the website as well.
Wow. So again, folks, this is a great album. She's got a song on here. I'm definitely going to have to play it. Now, this is Hallelujah. Is this the Hallelujah that everyone knows?
Everybody knows that, yeah. Now, there's a longer version. That one's the shorter version.
Right.
So
we may just give that a listen as well, folks, because, nothing like a great rendition of Hallelujah, especially, in the middle of the afternoon, right? It's like, some people are, oh, my day has just gone to hell in a handcart. I wish I had some help. And then you hear this. So here it is, without any further discussion. Here is Krista Ferguson and her rendition of Hallelujah right here on Truly Local Radio. This is Northumberland 89.7. You are listening to The Drive Time. Yes, make no mistake.
Secret chord David played and please the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. Well, she tied you to the kitchen chair, she broke your thorn, she cut your hair, and through her lips she drew the hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
That was wonderful. That was Hallelujah by our wonderful guest, Krista Ferguson. We are going to take another quick break here while you are listening to The Drive Time on Northumberland 89.7. We will be right back after these few words. And welcome back to the show. Joining us in studio is Krista Ferguson, and we are talking about her. She's just getting her feet wet in the wild and wacky world of entertainment. Now, of course, all the kids are doing it nowadays. The YouTube video. Have you put together one of those YouTube videos?
I did one. Actually, one of my students told me that I need to make a YouTube channel. So they're all hip with this stuff now, so I figured I might as well try it. So on my website, I did one YouTube video there. I have a couple of actually YouTube videos up. If you go to YouTube there, you'll find me, Krista Ferguson. But yeah, I'm just starting with the videos and seeing how they go. But no, I think right now I'm just trying to get the demo CD done, really get that focused on, and then eventually I think the videos will come.
Now, your website, this is it here, V. Kenter Entertainment?
Yeah, that actually is
Kentertainment.
VK Entertainment is actually, if you guys want to book me for a gig, you can contact me at that email, vkentertainment@outlook.com. You can get a hold of my booking agent there. His name is Vern, and I'm pretty much booking anywhere in Ontario right now, but mostly from Pickering to Port Hope or Cobourg. So yeah, that if you want, you can find me on the contact page on kristaferguson.ca.
There you go, kristaferguson.ca with a K, folks.
Yes.
With a K. And as I say, she's got a couple of gigs coming up in the next short while. Of course, the next big show is at Maddie's Pub, which is in Bowmanville at 7 Division Street. You can give them a call at 697-4022. Book your seats, reservations. Hopefully this is going to be a big, big show. Now, one of the things you were talking to me about during the break is some of the incredible work you're doing with your students and some fundraising that you're working on and trying to, I guess, help them get comfortable with performing live, I guess.
That's it. I only wish that I had that when I was younger. But the kids that I've had for a couple of years, they're now at the point where they're playing. So we're learning songs. I have a charity. It's called Children for Change. And the students that I have maybe a handful of them, and I teach them songs from, anywhere from the 1950s all the way up to present popular hits, upbeat, positive songs. We go around to the community and we perform for retirement homes, and eventually we're going to go and do public gigs as well. They're just trying to work up their confidence before we start doing that.
Right.
But any donations that we receive for Children for Change, they're actually going to donate it to Toronto Sick Kids, and we're hoping in the summertime that we can go up there as well and perform for them. So it's a great cause. It's a great opportunity for the kids of Children for Change as well. But not only that, it gives them the opportunity to try what it's like to be a musician and do gigs. If they start at this age, by the time they're my age, they'll be ready to go. So.
That's true. Once they get comfortable, this is the other thing. I mean, it's one thing to teach someone how to play an instrument, but it's something entirely different to teach them how to be an entertainer.
Exactly. Yeah.
And how do you teach the difference for little kids? I mean, little kids like to show off anyway, but
exactly. Some have it. Some needs a little bit extra work, but it depends if they really want to do it. You have some kids that they're just so passionate, and you see that love, and you see that it was the same for you when you were that age, and so you just what you got to do to help them. You give them that confidence. And you spend that extra time with them to make sure that they understand how to play the songs correctly. And part of the Children for Change is that they learn the songs individually, and then they come together, and then they learn to work together as a band. And so I have, a couple of my students who play piano, a couple that play guitar, some that play drums, and we all get together and we play these positive, upbeat songs. And so it just gives them that experience that they need, not only in the individual private lessons, but also as a band setting and in the performance aspect as well.
Well, again, and that's, kids who take music in school and all of that, really learning to be comfortable as a performer is very, very difficult. How did you get comfortable?
I'm still getting comfortable. You just gotta smile and get through it. But you know what? When you love something so much, it's when you stop thinking about it and you just do it, and then you realize it's not that bad. It's just that first initial step once you get out there, and then you can breathe again. But for me, I've always been nervous. I've sang the national anthem. Actually, I had to sing the national anthems at an MMA fight in London, Ontario. And that was probably 2,500, 3,000 people, which, it's not too many, but that was the most that I've performed in front of, and that was a little bit scary. But once you get up there and you're only up there for a couple of minutes, you kind of own it, and then you walk off the stage and you're going, okay, that wasn't so bad,
Well, I find it way more difficult to perform for a small audience. When you've got it, because the smaller the group, the more intimate, and I'm not that I'm a world-renowned performer, but I mean I've done shows, live stage shows and what have you with musicals, and I've also done shows with bands and some gigs. A business associate of mine and I, excuse me, do our karaoke show with. We do a lot of shows for seniors too, but it's always more nerve-wracking to perform for 2 or 3 people, or a small room with maybe 10 or 15 people, than it is for larger crowds. Because larger crowds, there's that synergy. The crowd can get into it, providing, of course, you get the crowd drawn in. Providing there's a buy-in. But the smaller the crowd, the more difficult it is, because it's harder to get that satisfaction. You're trying to draw energy from those people, right?
Yeah, no, I could totally see that. Yeah, luckily I haven't had that problem. I haven't really performed in an intimate setting. I've usually had good, probably at least 100 to 200 people that have been at the place that I've been performing. But no, it's not too scary. Like I said, once you get up there and then you kind of calm down, the nerves stop, and then you can just focus. And then at the end of the night, you're like, oh, that was great. I can't wait to do it again.
That's it. Well, that's the way it is with live performing, though. I mean, that's one of the things I love about it in particular, is the fact that you've got this opportunity to bring people into. There's that buy-in, right? You try and get people to come along with you for the ride. Yeah. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't.
Well, I'm hoping I'll have people come with me, because I'm just beginning this journey. And like I said, they can follow me on my website, KristaFerguson.ca. I'll have the YouTube page up eventually. My students are going to help me with that. And you can also find the Children for Change video on YouTube as well. So if you guys want to take a look at that, you can.
Children for Change.
Children for Change.
My guest in the studio is Krista Ferguson. We were talking about her. Her upcoming show is at Maddie's in Bowmanville, providing, of course, you don't get a gig between now and then in Port Hope. And there's lots of places to play in Port Hope.
There is. I'm hoping.
Have you checked out any of the shows that have? Some of the competition, if you will.
I have, and it's a small community, and everybody is great. They're really talented. I'm just starting to meet them all now, starting to get my name out there, so people are starting to hear of me. But just like I said, I'm starting to go out to the different the jams. I know a lot of places have open jams going on, and I have a lot of friends on Facebook too, so I get to see where they're performing, and you like and share their stuff as well. And it's just about being a supportive musician as part of the community, because if you're not supporting one another, then you're kind of against each other, and then you're taking away from the element of it just being fun and enjoying it, and what the real sense is, which is just love the music.
Well, I asked you when you sat down some of your biggest influences, and we talked about the singer-songwriters, primarily female singer-songwriters. So we do have a track coming up for you right now. This is a song by Jan Arden, a song called Good Mother. Which you said was one of your favorites. So we're going to play that for you. My guest in studio is Krista Ferguson, and she is performing in and around the area. She's brand new to Port Hope. Well, not brand new. You've been living there a while.
Yeah, a couple of years now. Yeah. So but brand new for the performance aspect.
There you go. She's a brand new performer, and she's going to be bringing her live entertainment to Maddie's in Bowmanville. But hopefully, we'll be seeing her at any of the number of wonderful venues we have here in Northumberland County. Maybe I should hook you up with Jim Matthews and him over at, because of course he's pretty into the musical scene locally. But for her listening pleasure, and for yours, listeners, here is Jan Arden, and the song is Good Mother. Let me just make sure I got this in the right spot, otherwise we're not going to get it. We'll go to a commercial instead. That won't be good. Here's Jan Arden, folks. And that was Jan Arden, The Good Mother from 1985, off Jan Arden's Greatest Hits. And that is a great track, so I want to thank... what do we got here? Oh, it's David Gates and Goodbye Girl. No, we're not going to play that one yet. I will play that in the next hour, but we'll just kill this. My guest in studio is Krista Ferguson, and we've been talking about some of the great stuff that she's got going down. And welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm Dave Glover. You are listening to The Drive Time right here on Northumberland 89.7, truly local radio. I don't know why we're not getting anything coming through on our recording. But anyway, Krista, you've got this big show coming up, though. Have you made any contacts locally in the local music scene?
Yeah, actually, I'm trying to get into, I want to look at Oasis. I know Oasis is doing pretty good up there. There's the Jailhouse, the Mill. So I know that there's some places around the area, Vino's Gallery as well. But like I said, I'm just starting to touch base with them and seeing what they have available, and just waiting to hear back from them. So, so I mean, it's in their hands. I've done what I can. So
do you
we'll
do
see.
weddings and parties and things like that?
No, but again, I'm just starting to look into it, so I might be doing weddings, private parties. But for now, at least I'm doing the pubs and the restaurants. And like I said, the next step is trying to get into the festivals and the rib fests in the area, at least in Durham and Northumberland.
No, we talked very briefly about you writing your own stuff. You've had quite a life experience. You've been a teacher. You've been working with kids. You've done you've been an athlete. What is it that you draw from when you write your own material?
Well, basically, I started writing when I was about 13, and at that point, it was about first loves and how hard life was and all the problems and pains and so at that point it's understanding how to take that emotion and write about it. And as a kid, it's not like you got any bad problems, but I was able to write about how horrible my day was, or what that boy did to me, or how sad you are. And as you get older, you start to go through these stages in life and different experiences, and you mature, and so you can take it from a different perspective when you're writing it. And so it's almost like therapy to kind of create your songs and do it in a form of music. And basically everything that I write about, it's a story. It's something that's happened to me. It's an experience. And it's a little bit, I get a little bit vulnerable when I actually have to perform them, because it is my thoughts, it's my feelings, it's certain things I've gone through that, you don't usually tell people about. And of course, my songs aren't going to say everything that's happened to me. I've had probably the last 10 years have been up and down in my life, and so a lot of my songs are going to be representing those points in my life that were hard.
Sort of like Alanis' Jagged Little Pill.
Pretty
there, right?
pretty much, yeah.
I mean, that album, I think the one thing a lot of women that I've spoken to have said about that album is that they have lived that in one part of their life or another. It was almost like an autobiography for them.
Yeah, that's it. She has one song called Unsent, and it's actually after Jagged Little Pill. But I mean, I love that type of song. It's almost like it was a song I wrote before. So I do find that with her, I can relate a lot to her music. And like I said, she was an influence growing up. I always found her to be so impressive. And I liked any of the female artists that played guitars and wrote their own music. And that's what really inspired me to say, okay, I can do this too.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, one of my inspirations when it comes to writing music and songs, because I don't take any credit for any songs I've written. And I've written lots and lots of songs, which are crazy, some of them are really deep emotionally. And I mean, I'm talking about going back to my late teens where I was writing songs about complex relationship agendas, and people are going, oh my God, I said, I don't even have a girlfriend. So, but like John Lennon used to say the same thing, when you hear it, all of a sudden, the whole song just comes to you, and you're hearing this song. So, and as he said, he didn't take credit, from himself. He never took credit for what he wrote, because he said, when you think of something, and then all of a sudden, it's like a record just plays in your head. Do you find the same with you when you're writing?
Exactly. I push record before, and I've written songs on the spot. That song, What Do You Want From Me? I wrote that from start to finish, and I just pushed record, and that was what came out. So those songs are, like I said, stories and emotions that I'm feeling at that moment, and that's what comes out. And so it's just from there, it's okay critiquing a little bit here and there. But I did that one night. I think I did 9 songs in the whole night, and I just push record and I let it go, and now I have 9 songs to go through and start breaking them down, just like how Jagged Little Pill is. When you feel it and you're in the mood and you have that vibe, go for it. Don't stop.
Do you find that's still easy to do? Is that something that still comes to you?
I have the ups and downs. I find that sometimes you have the writer's block and you can't really do anything about it, and then sometimes you can just write for hours, and it comes and goes. And so really when the creativity hits, you got to do it. And so that's what I've been doing a lot, is just focusing on my music, because I've been having that.
Well, I think it was David Geffen who said that every artist has one really good album in them, and the goal is to try and push past that one album, because it's so easy to come up with 10 or 13 songs. And I don't know, but it used to be 13 songs on an album, or maybe a few more. Yeah. But nowadays it's, people are putting out extended play, long mixes, and one track. It's got to be, and I mean, I would have to say that he was probably right in that instance, that everyone's got at least one good album. But it's harder. You don't really experience the writer's block until after you've done that, and they don't seem to come to you as quickly as they used to. Are you experiencing that yet, or?
I have had that where, you have those periods and you're just like, oh, I can't write anything. And what is this that I'm writing? This is trash. But then you go back to it, you wait a little bit, and you come back to the memory or the thought and the emotion, and you really start to focus and you write it down, and then you see, okay, well, maybe that wasn't so bad, but you do have those times when you don't think you're going to be able to write again. And like I said, I've had that. There was, like I said, about 10 years of my life there that I really didn't get a chance to write or perform. I just focused on playing with the kids, and you play Jingle Bells and Twinkle Little Star, and that's as far as I'm getting on my practice. So now, like I said, that my students are getting older and I'm having that chance to really focus on sitting down and writing again. I'm starting to get them out there, and it really comes with habit. You sit down, pick up your guitar, and you go for it, and you just feel that emotion.
Any kids that you're teaching that are you teaching the next Ingve Malmsteen, for instance, or those thracking? I want to learn how to play just bar chords.
Oh yeah. I have so many amazing students, and they impress me, and I'm so proud of them, watching them grow up. I don't have my own kids, but I call them all of my kids, and I have them. They they want to be the next rock star and superstar, and all I can do is keep pushing them and help them, and give them that confidence and say, go for it, because if that's your dream, that's what you got to do. Life's too short not to.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to take our last break of the hour, listeners. You are listening to The Drive Time right here on Northumberland 89.7. This is truly local radio, Northumberland 89.7. We'll be right back after a few words from our sponsors, and perhaps, if we're lucky, we may be able to get Krista to play us one last song before the hour is up. I'm not going to commit for her. We'll have to wait and see what she says after the break. And welcome back to The Drive Time, everybody. I'm Dave Glover. With me, it's Krista Ferguson. I got to remember to turn that automatic switch off. That, again, was Jan Arden coming back to do another rendition of Good Mother. But with us in the studio is Krista Ferguson, and she's going to take us out to the top of the hour with her rendition of Son of a Preacher Man, the Dusty Springfield classic. Take it away, Krista.
Son, and when his daddy would visit, he'd come along. When he gathered around and started talking, that's when Billy would take me walking. Through the backyard we go walking. Then he looked into my eyes. Lord knows to my surprise, the only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was. Oh, yes, he was. Being good isn't always easy, no matter how hard I try. When he started sweet talking to me, come and tell me everything is alright. Kiss me, tell me everything is alright. Can I get away tonight? The only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was. Oh, yes, he was. How will I remember the look that was in his eyes, stealing kisses from me on the slide, taking time to make time, telling me that he's all mine, learning from each other's knowing, looking to see how much we've grown, and the only one who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man. The only boy who could ever teach me was the son of a preacher man. Yes, he was. He was. Oh, yes, he was. Was the son of a preacher man. 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 Was the son of a preacher man.
Yeah, Krista Ferguson, everybody.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here in the studio with us this afternoon. Thanks for taking the time. The weather has been just crap, so driving here, obviously, thank you very much
Thanks for having me.
doing that. You're very welcome. And anytime you'd like to come back, we would always love to have you here.
Thank you.
And also want to thank the artists who make these songs possible. Of course, Neil Young with Old Man, Dusty Springfield, Son of a Preacher Man, Hallelujah. All of these tracks are available on her new CD, Krista Ferguson, and they will be for sale at Maddie's Pub and Restaurant. Well, at least we hope they will when she appears on March 11th. That's Friday, March 11th from 7 to 11 p.m. And go on out there and enjoy that. What are there tickets for this show? Is it
No, come on.
no cover?
Down.
Just drop by and
down.
enjoy. Krista Ferguson is known for her amazing vocal talent, being well versed in the different styles of genres and instruments. She's able to perform for any audience. Making it through a difficult past, Krista's finally able to focus on her music, something she says she was born to do. And of course, if you were listening this afternoon, obviously there's no doubt in anyone's mind that it is something you were born to do. Thank you for bringing that sound to us here.
I really appreciate it. Thank you, Dave.
My pleasure, actually. And folks, we're going to go to the top of the hour. You are listening to The Drive Time right here on Northumberland 89.7. This is Canada's only holistic political chat.